was young and scared of the Joker. What can I
The
say?
Joker?
The Joker.
Plays in Scotland.
Joker.
He runs with a giant egg
I'm
crush.
cutting this out. I am cutting this out.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is the Unwanted Opinions podcast, episode 4. I'm your host, Lewis. I'm joined once again by my good friend Kyle.
Hello.
And my other good friend, Gunfall.
Hi.
On today's episode,
Yes.
we're going to go full on talking about the Batman. Biggest film in cinemas right now, obviously. We're going to go a full non-spoilers review, giving all three of our opinions here. And then in the second half of the show, we're going to go full spoilers for everyone that's seen it. Or if, you just don't care about spoilers, of course you can just listen in. Let's go straight into it. So, Kyle, what is the Batman about?
Well, we're gonna go very snippet. Okay. Scene 1. Fade
You're not
in.
going to do what I did.
No. I'm gonna go a wee bit quicker. So
This
the
is
Batman.
revenge now.
Batman is basically a story about the Batman
Is it?
fighting against time with the Riddler.
Yes.
Batman v Riddler. That's the synopsis. Job done. Catwoman's there. Jim Gordon's there, and
Penguin.
another Penguin's there as well.
Mhm.
Bunch of stuff happens. It's a crime noir. Let's get into it. So
Yeah.
that's the story.
Very, very brief, Kyle.
Thank you.
I don't know a thing about it.
Well, that's all
Good.
right to keep.
Let's get to the important bit.
Yes.
Lewis, Kyle, did you enjoy The Batman?
Well, I was completely blown away by the Batman, I think.
Yeah. No.
Oh, okay.
No. I
Alright.
was just saying because
Uh-huh.
Lewis saw it midnight release.
Yes, I saw it.
Okay, and
Yeah.
he messaged me the next day, and I was like, right, okay, give me your opinion. And he told me, and
Yeah.
but he went. Now he went to me. Not everybody's gonna like this.
No.
And I went, well, and
Yeah.
I was trying to ask him why, but not spoil it. But he was telling me that people were walking out the cinema.
Shockingly, when it released, I did catch
Were
a
they?
few people who just left, had their jackets on, just
Really?
straight up walked out. And like I said, I mean, I obviously wrote a big review on this on the website, and I said in that review, as much as I, love this film, I think it's one of the best comic book films in years. It's absolutely not for everyone. It's incredibly dark. There's little to
I
no
agree.
humor in the whole film.
Yeah.
It's not,
Yeah.
popcorn,
Yeah,
joyous
of
ride,
course.
blockbuster, like many other, superhero films or just casual, films that are out right now.
Yeah.
It is a very serious 3-hour film about corruption and,
It was 3 hours.
No,
It didn't feel that
no,
long.
you didn't. And
I mean,
to us,
it was-
most people have said
It
that.
was
Like, I've seen
250 technically.
Yeah, 250 technically has credits and stuff.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
Still
right.
didn't feel that
even
long.
still,
It's pretty good.
it's still a very long film. And like I said, I mean, to me, I think to me it is probably the second best Batman film out of the how many there has been.
Yeah.
I just loved so much of it, and what I loved most about it to me was it is so stylistic. It's gorgeous film.
Oh, yes.
Gorgeous film,
Yes.
and it's just
Absolutely stunning.
And I've seen some reviews where it's like, oh, it's too heavy, and it's not enjoyable, and it's not fun. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
so-
but yeah, it was never a film. To be fair, Warner Brothers never marketed it that way. And
No,
they were
it
always-
was-
Yeah,
it
I'm
was
surprised
very-
this happened.
And that's what
Honestly, from
uh-huh.
just seeing the trailer,
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to be a dark film. That's the reason I
Yeah.
actually, if it weren't for the show, I probably wouldn't have even gone to see it because
Really?
I understood from the trailer it was a very dark film. And I'm not usually in the mood for very dark films. And I
okay.
I knew from the trailer, hey, this is not going to be a lighthearted adventure. This is going to be dark as can be,
So wait, you're not a fan of well, you weren't a big fan of
don't
Nightmare
tend to
Alley
be a fan of
actually,
it.
which
No,
actually
that's-
actually
Yeah,
has a lot of similar stylistic tropes.
I
Because it is a
don't
noir.
tend to be a big fan of dark films. I do like noirs. It depends, honestly. It's just not my cup of tea, but I did enjoy it. I did have a lot of fun with this movie. Not fun in the sense that it was a fun movie to watch, but in the sense that it was really well crafted and clearly every single frame was there was so much work put into it. I really, really liked it.
The issue with the Batman films
Okay.
is people are comparing. That's the main
Yes.
issue. That's a lot of people go in, and they're like, people go in and say, right, what is this going to be compared to The Dark Knight?
You know, they'll be like, oh, is it as good as Dark Knight? And people, well, no, and they'll be like, well, I'm not going to watch it then.
But it's a
sort of
completely different film from The Dark Knight.
Absolutely.
The Dark Knight was an action crime thriller.
Oh yeah.
While this was a crime noir.
Yeah,
less on the action.
Thriller.
There is similar
thriller.
things in it. There's similar detective work.
Yeah,
I
feel this is more detective.
Yeah, The Dark Knight,
this one is way more detective than Dark Knight.
But The Dark Knight
was a
is
lot more.
That's more of a neo noir, which is more modern day stuff. Whereas this is much more typical throwback to.
Oh yeah,
Seven,
there's
Zodiac.
There's
Blade
so
Runner,
much just
so
kind
many.
of like deep down. It's just Batman in Gotham City. Obviously, The Dark Knight did a bit of international stuff, but this is simply to the core.
Also, this Gotham feels like Gotham because The Dark Knight just felt like New York.
Well, Chicago,
This feels like Gotham.
That's what I was saying to Lewis earlier, that this film, I think, has the best Gotham. Close with like
I would agree.
Tim Burton's very overly exaggerated Gotham.
Yeah.
This felt like what Gotham would look like in real life
today.
And that's what I said as well. I said this is a blend of the purely realistic city of Nolan with the sort of a bit more darker and gothic look of Burton. And that's what kind of, it's just a pure horrible place to live. This Gotham, like
it's
constantly rainy and gloomy and just like it is like in Seven, which is like have you guys seen Seven? The David Fincher one.
I'd actually compared this film to Seven
Yeah.
very strongly.
And it was obviously Matt Reeves' biggest inspiration to making it. But in that film, it basically never stops raining, and they also never tell you what city it's in. It's just in this.
Really?
It's just a nameless city of just like this dark, horrible place, and that's exactly what this Gotham is.
Honestly, coming out of this film, my brother asked me whether it was worth watching it or not because he wasn't here when I watched it, and I told him, "Have you seen Seven? If you liked Seven, you're gonna like this movie."
Yeah.
Because that's the closest thing I could compare it to, honestly.
So, I mean, let's go through the characters.
Yeah.
And we'll quickly have a wee discussion of each character. I'm not going to start off with the main character.
No, good
I
idea.
want to start off with personally who I thought kind of stole it for me. Zoe Kravis's Catwoman.
Yeah.
Selena Kyle. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. The way she's kind of portrayed more in the so that, she is like the kind of same how Batman's the persona and Bruce Wayne's the mask. I really felt in this she was Catwoman, and in Selena Kyle, the idea of her like the wigs being like the constant different masks she's wearing to be Selena Kyle. So her story, to keep it non-spoiler territory, is she's trying to find a friend.
Yeah.
That's kind of been caught
Gone missing.
Yes. Gone missing, and that's how she runs in with the Batman.
And they're kind of both tools for each other to use.
Yes, they very are. Much, Batman uses Selena Kyle to get
something,
and Selena Kyle uses like the Batman to help her with this kind of crime, basically.
I really did love how they wrote that dynamic. I think that's the best.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Catwoman Batman dynamic we've seen in film.
Yeah, I mean,
I would agree.
I would agree. Anne Hathaway, I think she's okay.
No, actually, I don't understand where the Anne Hathaway came from for her as Catwoman. I really like her Catwoman.
I don't hate her. She's not Halle Berry.
I love her.
I like her Catwoman
I loved
a
her
lot.
as Catwoman.
I think she actually depicts a very accurate Kyle. Selena Kyle, I should say. Sorry.
I just think I think Zoe Kravitz was.
I think she's the better one.
Yeah,
I think she's the better one.
She definitely is.
The problem with me with previous Catwomans was more with the writing than with the actual acting. I think Anne Hathaway did a really good job. It's just there wasn't much to her character in that movie.
I mean, what about Halle Berry? You have to consider that, obviously.
Oh, that was a brilliant film. One of the best comic book films of all time.
I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer as well. That's a very, very much more fantastical take on the idea of Catwoman.
It's a bizarre film.
It's a very, very strange film, but I kind of love Batman Returns. It's so nuts.
Oh, it's great in its own way.
Yeah, but Zoe Kravitz is a great Catwoman.
Is incredible. And we'll move on to her character when we talk more
in
spoilers. Jeffrey Wright's Gordon. I'm in debate if I like him more than
I
Gary
was the
Oldman.
same.
I do. Do you know what I'm going to say? I actually prefer him than Gary Oldman. I don't.
Yeah.
It's Gary Oldman always felt quite optimistic about the scenario he was in within Gotham.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Wright kind of just knows it's...
It kind of rolls with the punches.
Yeah, he rolls with the punches. He knows this is a shithole. He is, in this scenario, he's really the only cop. Now, bear in mind, this isn't an origin story. This is Batman in his second year of fighting crime. So he's had some run-ins with the GCPD, and he kind of... Him and Gordon are slowly building a trust, okay?
Yeah. Well, they kind of have already built that trust.
Yeah,
that
but it's building more and more
when they're already... Yeah.
So, like,
they're just reinforcing that relationship.
Like, each of them slightly trusts the other, but not completely. So, you've got the bat signal that he uses... But it's in an undisclosed location. Yeah. Like, because Jeffrey Wright's clearly not comfortable telling the cops how he, well, not how he does it, because I'm pretty sure everybody sees that sign in the sky, but where it is and everything. And he's a really good character, Gordon, in this.
Oh, he's great.
I think they've really balanced all the main characters out quite well. What do you guys think?
I think it's okay. To start off with, for me, it's the first live action, because there have been really good animated Batman movies like Mask of the Phantasm that actually dig into this, but like this is the first live action Batman movie where Batman is the actual protagonist, where it's about Batman and his character arc.
Very good. You got a very good point, because
there,
most, I mean, if we take it back to, except from 1966, Batman 89, Jack Nicholson Joker film.
He kind of stole the show.
Yeah, every other, Tommy Lee Jones, Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah.
Heath Ledger.
But that's like Val Kilmer's very much pushed to the side in that Batman Forever.
It's never about Batman. Batman is Batman is the immovable object where we see these villains. We actually see their origins and their evolution, in opposition to. In Begins, he kind of has a bit of an arc, but not really. It's more about Ra's al Ghul, let's face it.
No, I would actually strongly disagree with that, actually.
Oh, Batman Begins.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, no, I get, see your point about this kind of being Batman as the protagonist. That is, for a lot of the Batman films, that's very true, and especially true with Burton and the Schumacher ones.
Oh, definitely.
I definitely think so. If you see Batman Returns, Batman doesn't shoot. Michael Keaton doesn't show up to like 40 minutes in. It's genuinely so bizarre. That's because Burton just has an obsession with just like weird misfit characters and things like that. But no, I think, and obviously Heath Ledger stole the show in the Dark Knight. But I think
Bane also.
But I would say Batman Begins especially is very much about Batman and very much about Bruce Wayne and figuring out the man he needs to be. But
if it is, it didn't feel as good to me.
But that's the thing. In this film, Batman is in 99% of it. He's in almost every single scene.
Yes. Yeah. And we'll move on. We'll talk about Robert Pattinson's performance. But I want to quickly go through the other kind of few characters that we had.
Actually, I will say about another thing I loved about Jim Gordon. This is that he very much is. Batman's partner in this.
Oh
they're constantly going out places together, like they are, like in any sort of crime noir
with each other.
Yeah, they are like partners.
Thing.
They are detective partners, and they're doing the good cop bad cop thing, and then they're exploring places and figuring things out together. Like they are. It's just they're always in shots together, walking side by side and things. I loved how they were just genuine partners.
It was the cop kind of noir aspect of the film.
Yeah.
Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell's Penguin. You could not tell that was him. The makeup in that was incredible. And his Penguin is very good.
Yeah.
Is it? I don't want to talk about too much about actually where this Penguin is.
Yeah, because he's still kind of.
Can we talk? That's not too.
No. He's not.
He's not the crime lord that he is in. The comics or anything. He's very much
getting
Gotham Penguin at the moment. He's a second in command.
Don't talk about that show.
He's very much like Penguin from Gotham. He's this Penguin is second in command to Carmine Falcone. Because when you saw the Iceberg Lounge, you always kind of assume
it's this big grand thing. It's actually a really seedy club.
It's a seedy club, and we also assumed the Iceberg was run by Penguins, which I would have said that maybe he been the front man of the place while Falcone was like the higher up.
Yeah.
But my God, he's a good. He was excellent.
He was so good. And I turned to Madeline during it and I was like, oh, by the way, that's Colin Farrell. And she was like, what?
Yeah, no, you wouldn't
he's
be able to
unrecognizable in the role.
And his accent holds this time.
You guys talked about it. You guys talked about that being Colin Farrell before I watched the movie. And during it, I was thinking, maybe they're wrong. Maybe they got the names mixed up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the credits where I was like, oh, shit. No, that's
impressive. No, I'm really looking forward to seeing his character in the HBO show.
Yeah, they're doing a spin-off show.
They're doing a spin-off Penguin show. So really interested. We've got some ideas maybe what that could be about, but we'll wait on that when we go into spoilers.
But I actually want to talk about the other kind of the unsung villain of the film, and that's Falcone.
Yeah.
Who played him again?
John Turturro.
Oh, he was
because he's actually
surprisingly good.
Yeah, because he's usually a comedic actor, and he is he's a slime ball of a character.
He is.
And actually, because I didn't expect him to be in it as much as he was, but
he was.
He actually has a big role to play in it, and I was like, he is a really dirty villain, like a really nasty guy. And I was like,
he really gets you to hate him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, he's excellent as this mob guy.
Do you know what? He's more. I mean, I know Falcone and Maroni, the two major crime bosses within the Batman universes, were present in the Nolanverse.
Yeah, they were.
But if you were to ask me anything about them, I couldn't tell you. Because they weren't as up there with the villains of the films. They always felt side characters, and even though Falcone was like the kind of background villains, it just his performance just stole it for me. Yeah. And I mean, let's say we can move on to Andy Serkis's Alfred.
Yeah,
there's not much to say.
No, he's not in the film much actually. This is probably the least Alfred's really ever been in a Batman film. He was on the TV in Batman and Robin, if you remember correctly. Oh yes,
AI.
Yes. Hey, they had the whole Alfred's dying subplot in Batman and Robin.
That's true. Yeah. But we'll move on to. We can't really. I don't want to talk too much about Andy Serkis because his role is a wee bit more.
He has actually a really important moment in the film.
Yeah, it's a bit more important. So we'll move on. So we'll move on to the main two characters. Whose name? Who plays the Riddler? I forgot.
Paul Dano.
Paul Dano's Riddler. Overall, I think it was an excellent job.
Okay.
Overall, I'm saying, because I think 90% of the character was incredible. I know there's a wee bit of his character that is less than desirable.
Yeah.
But I want to say that his kind of portrayal of basically the Zodiac Killer and this whole leaving clues and this larger picture he's trying to do, so good, so creepy. There's scenes in it in the film, like the very first scene.
The opening scene is brilliantly done.
Scene where we can't. I don't want to talk about that, but it's incredible. And then there's the scene. And I can mention this scene because technically it was released as a clip, which was the funeral scene, which is the clip where you all see it for the trailers where that car crashes through this church. And Bruce Wayne turns, and everybody's it's the upper bits of the church. Yeah. Everybody runs away, and there's just a silhouette of a man who is obviously Riddler.
Yeah,
and that was just incredible. It's just it's the wee things of this character.
I think,
especially the last thing we saw him.
Well, actually, I think Gunfall. I think you and I might have the same opinion on Riddler. Because I did write this.
I think
did you read the review?
I haven't.
You haven't read it? Okay.
No.
Because I did say in that he's the one performance where he did kind of take me out of in a couple of scenes. I think he goes a bit too hammy. There is a particular scene where
there's a particular scene for me where it also has like a callback to a different really good Batman movie. I don't want to be very specific because again we'll talk about it in the spoiler territory, but it just took me out of it completely and I did not enjoy that bit. And it's the one moment in the film where I was like, I felt bad to think about it, but I was like, this is a bit cringy. You know?
I mean, Paul Dano.
I want to actually disagree here.
Okay.
Because I do think that it's the Riddler. Like, I felt if we didn't have a bit of that slightly crazy campy aspect to the character, then it wouldn't be fully Riddler.
Well, but that's the problem.
But
here,
it's
right?
not that part that
not.
bothered me though. It's not that part because I love the puzzle thing. I love the like the Riddler bit of it. I love. It's just the part where he stops being Riddler and starts trying to be a different villain. That kind of.
It's because I think for me in the first half of the film, the depiction of Riddler is quite unsettling, and he's actually like. he's a serial
I really
killer,
like it.
and he's a really creepy one at that. And then it's when we get to in the latter half of the film, when we have a bit more screen time with him, and he's less in the shadows, and obviously it's just anyway. Don't want to say. And there's a particular exchange with him and Batman, but I was just like. And it starts off really well, I think, but there is
not the same moment that cringes you out.
He goes off the cliff.
Okay. It's.
We'll discuss these scenes in spoilers.
Okay,
because to be honest, I don't think I know what scenes that you guys are talking about.
Okay.
Because I'm a bit out of the loop of what's in what. But anyway, we move on to the last main character.
The big one.
The big one. Mm-hmm. The Batman. Because I'm describing him as the Batman because he basically just portrays the Batman.
Yes, he's not. Bruce Wayne doesn't exist.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne is as a character is rarely in this film. And I mean, a couple of scenes. But Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah.
Fella's itching to say something.
He's itching.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it's weird because Bruce Wayne at the beginning, the couple of scenes where Batman actually puts on the quote unquote mask of Bruce Wayne, they took me aback a bit what they decided to do with him, but then I kind of liked it.
Okay,
so like
nice.
I was a bit taken aback with it, but then I kind of liked the direction they were going with Bruce Wayne.
I think I've got kind of like ideas of what they're going to do with it, but I don't want to
you and I have
mention
similar ideas.
I don't want to mention that until later.
Yeah.
But what I kind of want to talk is
no, I still keep talking. Are you talking about Robert Pattinson?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But I want to talk.
Moving on there.
No, I want to talk about his Bruce Wayne aspect later.
Okay.
But him as the Batman. Okay. Now, I mean, in this film, the Robert Pattinson's acting in it, I want to say, is really great. Mainly his body language.
Yeah, because
you'll see the things, and this is kind of briefly talking about his Bruce Wayne things. Anytime I saw him as Bruce Wayne, he's like hunched over.
Oh yeah.
His body posture is so like ugh.
Yeah.
And then as soon as when he's Batman, he's like straight back.
Yeah.
Like
he's confident.
It's confidence. It is really the classic. The mask is Bruce Wayne, and the real person is Batman. But him as Batman, this detective, and I can't, you can't strongly put that down enough that he's a detective.
I love the detective aspect in this movie. I think it's the best Batman detective story we've had so far. Honestly, I loved how detective-y it was.
Yeah, it's such a relief, especially the last Batman who we've had.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, and was there any detective work?
Nah. He did a little bit of figuring things out with Superman, I guess.
Yeah, well, anyway.
No, but that's the thing, because...
he figured his name was Martha.
Yeah.
This is a...
Yeah, that was a big one.
This is a really, I think, one of the most unique interpretations of Batman in terms of the fact that he is so uncomfortable as Bruce Wayne that he kind of can't survive without the Batman suit.
Yeah.
And I kind of love that idea that there is no Bruce Wayne persona, there is no playboy, there is no like charitable billionaire.
Yeah.
He only sees his life through the lens of Batman. And like an interview with Pattinson, he wanted to play not Bruce Wayne, Batman, I guess, more, because he said he's a freak and he likes playing weird characters, and him and Reeves really pushed that aspect of that. He is, a freak. Yeah. He's just like this weird guy. If you look
at the character, he's a man who lost his parents at a young age and now dresses up as a bat to fight villains.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not classing
I'm also tend to be... Yeah, but like I'm also tend to be really bothered with the like non-heroic take on Batman whenever they try to make him more violent or more unethical and stuff. But honestly, I think this movie did an amazing job with that. I was very kind of like careful going in, but what they actually like the way they actually use that to enhance the whole idea of the character.
Yeah, the ending has its own big like profound meaning of what Batman
really
is, which is
really nice, and he is very much a known killer.
Yes. No, he's not. I'd say he's killed some people in this film. I think every Batman film he's killed
just
someone.
Not directly.
Well,
not directly.
Yeah,
I mean,
the classic not directly.
When in fight scenes when someone shoots him and then he like dodges it and then it shoots the guy behind him. I guess he does kill people. Just
and
not
I'm pretty sure
directly,
in that
really.
car chase there is multiple casualties.
Oh yes,
with him and Penguin.
Definitely.
I almost forget about the car chases. Actually, that's true. That's true.
That's where it's going to get you, Batman.
Yeah.
In Dark Knight, he kills multiple people through a car chase. You know.
He
does. Everyone
he
kills
does.
people through car chases.
But every single Batman film, he has killed someone. I dare you to look back and tell me he doesn't.
Lego Batman.
Well, that's an animated film.
Oh, he killed so
1966.
many people in
No,
Lego
he does kill
Batman.
people in
So many
1966
people.
one.
Does he?
He does go back and watch it. There's a specific scene where he kills multiple henchmen.
Was that with the bomb?
Doesn't he run over someone
No, that is
with
a
a
different
bomb?
scene.
Yeah, he throws a bomb at some of the clowns and literally just blows them
Oh,
up.
he does actually. Yeah.
he just blows people up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, he's killed so many people in every single film.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I need to go back and
I
watch
think
Batman Robin.
the
Well,
difference is
no.
that this one, like, the difference to me is that when he kills people and when you have, like, collateral damage in this film, it's not an oversight. It's part of what the story is trying to tell you.
This is a
about.
really,
That was the main difference for me.
This is a reckless man who doesn't care about this.
Yeah.
He does not care about his own life. He doesn't care about
Exactly.
kind of anything.
Yeah.
He just kind of wants to enact this vengeance.
You're not
on
even
people.
sure if he even cares
Project
about
Gotham.
life
Project
itself,
Gotham, yeah.
or, you know,
Mhm.
like, you don't even sure if he cares about the people he's quote unquote saving. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of there's this whole idea of the film about
Yeah,
you know,
that's
I won't spoil too much right now of what I'm saying, but that's what kind of I love the way the film is bookended with a narration, and the way you the contrast in those narrations, and the way the whole film is sort of a self-realization of the character of Batman and the whole concept of who Batman is and who should Batman be.
The identity of
and
the character.
exactly, and I think that's done excellently all through visuals as well. There's a brilliant visual
So-
storytelling done later on in the film.
and dialogue, just like
Yeah,
without relating the dialogue, just the one phrase that happens at the beginning and then gets echoed at the end.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
It's really good. It's really good.
So I've got a couple. I've got a wee nitpick
Okay.
that I was just discussing.
Yeah, let's go into some issues here.
I was discussing this with my friend actually, and so the score is amazing.
I love the score.
The soundtrack
Yes.
with the music.
Yes.
They like that Nirvana
Yes.
song, don't they?
But because the Nirvana
couple
song,
of
the
things.
Nirvana song, the point of that is that it's the same with the narration, because there's only about there are 3 uses of narration in the film, and they use the Nirvana track for the first and last narration, and I think that's obviously to kind of put it all and wrap it in the same bubble. And I know I really like the use of that Nirvana song. I really do. Something in the Way.
I
Great
liked
song.
it.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like the use of it by the second time. I don't know. I was
But
a bit like,
it adds that bookend to the story.
Again,
I think for me,
That was one of the issues I had with the movie, with like some of the decisions they made at first seemed slightly cringy for me, and then I realized that I was being overly cynical and not just letting the film
I think I need to see it a second
you do
time.
come into it with your preconceptions and your ideas, and it's a thing that I know I struggle with, just like allowing the film to like just take me over. And that was the moment where I was like, just, let's just let it see where it does, see where it takes you. And that, I ended up really liking it. And like Lewis said, to me, it feels like it's just to call your attention to what's happening in that first scene and that last scene, to just kind of like, make it so that in your brain they both stick out and you can like actually see the contrast between that character arc and stuff. So yeah.
So Gunfall, what are your flaws
Yeah.
with it? Because I know you told me about some. I can't remember you said.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't think it's a flaw. I think it's intentional. You guys have talked about the acting and how you enjoyed it. For me, the acting wasn't really a highlight at all. It felt like the characters.
Wait, for everyone.
For everyone in general, none of them were bad, but for me, none of them were standouts. For me, they all felt kind of wooden or asleep, but it felt like it was intentional.
Is this because of the theme of the film and like the genre? Do you think it's because it's the darker film and that obviously they're not going to be like as cheerful or like dropping wee jokes? Because even in like the Dark Knight, and
there's
then
some jokes.
there's more jokes. Well, this one is just hands down serious as serious could be.
No, because actually, the whole room burst into laughter when the Spanish is corrected in that one scene. So no, it wasn't an issue of just a lack of jokes. No, for me, it was just a case that the film itself, and just because of the way it was shot and the way it was just the ambience of it, it just felt like it was at that point of sleeplessness. And I felt like all the characters were playing with that. So for me, none of the performances stood out as anything, just because it felt like, have you watched the, what's this, like Ice White Shut? You know how when they're acting in that film,
the Kubrick one.
Yeah, it feels like they're not there or acting or anything, and it feels kind of sleepless. That's what all the acting felt to me in this movie.
I would have to disagree with you on this. I'd have to, because I think, especially if you look at someone like Jeffrey Wright, I think Jeffrey Wright is you know, I think there's so much to him, and I think he's actually really giving it his all in this. And I think the way Pattinson, because Pattinson in this film is doing so much just with the looks, because he's in the cowl most of the time, and the way he just uses his eyes to convey, you know, simple nuances and things, and especially the sort of like the kind of longing and sensuality between him and Catwoman. It's a lot done just through looks and things like that, and I think a lot of that has to be commended, that their looks aren't just, you know, over the top or too much.
I've talked about his body language as well.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
He's doing so much acting through different
but it doesn't feel like he's doing a lot of acting. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't think the acting is bad. I think it's to a point where, like, they're acting in a way that it doesn't feel like they're... Like, I wouldn't give any of these performances an acting award because they don't feel acted.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if you can understand.
I mean,
what
I
I'm
wouldn't
trying
say
to
I would give any of them an award, but I also wouldn't say that they're not.
I think they all embody their roles and what Reeves is told them to do
I
very well.
think I don't know if it's maybe just a case that this is just a different type of character that we're meeting. You know, we're all used to seeing the character of Batman, the character of Gordon, Alfred, Selena Kyle, and this is just a different one where maybe I don't know, maybe by like the second film you might pick up on like the way it's going, and I don't know, it may be because it has been such a 180 since the last Batman film in terms of how it's shot, how it's been written, the themes and everything, that maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just taking time to adjust to what you're seeing as a Batman film with the characters.
No, I actually loved it. Again, like, I don't have an issue with this. It's just, for me, it just didn't feel like any of them stood out because they all played exactly what they were supposed to. It's like an orchestra.
I don't really know what you kind of want, though. I'm struggling to.
No, I don't want anything else. It wasn't a downside. You took it as like a downside, but it's not. For me, it felt like it wasn't an acting movie. It was a directing movie.
Okay.
This is the type of movie where, for me, the acting of each one of the characters didn't stand out at all because it felt like they were just instruments being directed.
Last year's
if you know what I mean.
Dune.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's filling their roles adequately.
Same as Dune. I wouldn't say anyone in Dune did a fantastic job because I think they just did the exact job that they were supposed to do. Like, none of them are a standout performance.
On that point, I do get you.
Sense?
Yes, on that point, I do get
but
you. I mean, there's a lot of comparisons to this film in Dune, I feel, in the way people will view it. You know, if
same with Blade Runner, the last one. Like, it's not... It's not a movie that's where I was like, oh my god, they did such a good job on that one specific role. Like, I just felt like every single character.
Harrison Ford, incredible.
You know, no, actually, I would actually disagree with that because I think Ryan Gosling's phenomenal in Blade Runner 2049, and that's all through looks and things as well.
He didn't stand out for me. He did exactly what he was.
I don't know what you like. Oh,
okay.
Anyway,
it's not a criticism.
Anyway, let's move on.
It's not a criticism of it, Lewis. It's just an observation. I'm not saying it's a worst movie because of it,
you're
opposite.
making him angry.
No, I'm not.
Everybody, if remember Gunfall, if you don't share his opinion, it's the wrong opinion.
No. I'm just saying, like. Because only so many films can give you like a script that you have to show a full range of emotions. You know what I mean?
No, but that's not it. It's just the case that it felt like they did exactly what they were supposed to do, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm saying, and because of that, it's very good. The acting's very good.
It's very good.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not a standout. It's very good.
Okay.
It was perfect for what we needed it to be. And I feel like the movie is perfect for that.
Right, okay, I'm okay. I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Right, we'll move on. We'll move on.
That was a very strange misunderstanding.
We'll move on to spoiler territory.
The news, right? Oh, we're not doing news this week.
Move on to the spoiler territory.
There's not a lot of news.
Okay.
It's been a slow week.
Not a lot of news.
Yes, so guys, if you have not seen the film...
I'm going to put the news jingle anyways.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the news with Kyle. You can put a wee jingle, I don't mind.
Okay.
I don't want to get bullied.
Before we go into spoilers, guys, what would you rate the film? Quickly out of 10, Gunfall, what would you think you'd give it?
It's a 10 out of 10. It does exactly what it wanted to do.
Oh, really? You think it's like a masterpiece?
No, I think for what it wants to be, it achieves it.
Okay, so
I could say that about the Justice League. It was what Josh wanted it to be.
Okay, no, so you're saying what? Within the criteria of a comic book film, this is a 10 out of 10?
Within the criteria of a dark or noir, then it's a 10 out of 10. A comic book film isn't really a genre, you know?
Well, you know,
as a noir,
yeah, but, you know, adapting comic book characters.
As an adaptation, it's not a perfect adaptation because it takes a lot of liberties with the actual source
I guess
material.
No Batman adaptation could be a perfect adaptation because there's been a billion iterations of it.
Exactly. But I think this movie does exactly what it wants to do. Personally, for me, as like a movie that I would enjoy, then it'd be more like a 7 or 8 out of 10 because it's not
wonderful.
My favorite movie to watch, but it was really a really enjoyable experience.
Right,
but again,
sorry.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, Kyle.
Sorry.
No, I don't interrupt him.
Oh, sorry.
I don't interrupt Gunfall. I'm nicer like that.
No, I just thought he was done. I'm sorry. All right.
Honestly.
It's okay. It's fine.
Can't get
I
the
interrupt you
management
guys
here.
all the time.
It's hard with the anyway. Sorry.
Right.
Your rating.
My rating of this film in particular, the Batman. I'm sticking with a 9 at the moment.
Right.
Don't know where it could
9.
go. I don't think it's going to go up the way.
Mm-hmm.
It could go down on a second viewing, but I think it's going to stay with a 9 at the moment. I feel that the lowest it would get would be an 8 or an 8.5.
Okay.
But right now, I'm sticking with a 9.
Yeah, well, obviously, I did my review after, I wrote it really fast. Obviously, seeing it in the midnight thing, I wanted to get it out there. And then I got to see it again on Saturday, and, I'm sticking with that 9 out of 10. I think this is like, so I saw a review that called this, the Telegraph's Robbie Collins review. It's very good, actually. You should read it. He said this is the anti-blockbuster. Like, this is completely opposing any sort of idea of what a standard blockbuster is. I'm like, yes, this kind of is the anti-blockbuster. But in terms of if we're putting it in the field of comic book movies, along with your Marvels and other DC properties, I'm absolutely loving what DC is doing and Warner Brothers is doing. Just taking these extremely bold risks and just going like giving it to the creator and just being like, look, make what you want, and it's just a really risky thing to do. To just be like, here's like Batman, our most beloved IP that Warner Brothers has, and being like, look, you make what you want, and he made this dark, brooding, gloomy film.
We talked about this last week with video game movies. That was our solution for video game movies. Just take someone who's good at the craft and is passionate about the project and let them do whatever the heck they want.
Yeah. Is that what they thought about Justice League? Giving it to Josh Whedon?
They must have.
They genuinely must have.
But this is the new phase of DC, But yeah, it's just, I love how it has such a distinct vision, and it's really entrenched in that noir aesthetic and that noir style. And I was like, I don't think any superhero film since Logan is committed so dedicated. It's not dedicated
to the genre
so much, and I think this is the best superhero film since Logan, and I'd say this is a 9 out of 10 for me.
But again, the thing about both those movies is none of them are really within the comic book genre. They're just based on a comic book, but they just take so many liberties with the actual tone and things that's what makes them special and stand out.
Exactly. Like, the Batman is a crime noir film with superhero aspects.
Yeah.
Logan was a
Western
adventure.
That's what I'm saying.
Aspects.
But I'm saying basically, see that the last however many Marvel films we've had, and even some of the DC films, they've not really had any distinct vision or style to me. And at this having a very really mature style and a really interesting take on the Batman. It just made me love it so much more. And it is like in that Dark Knight Logan aspect where the sort of cliches of the comic book genre aren't here, and it's sort of beyond that now.
I want to quickly, just before we move into full spoilers, I actually want to say that I'm starting to love the use of the big LED screens.
The LED screens?
You know the Mandalorian?
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
There's so much less unnecessary CGI.
Oh yeah, I can't really tell much.
There's scenes also went out in spoiler territory, but it's not very spoiler thing. But it's from when they're in the iceberg lounge in Falcone's office looking into Gotham. That's just the big. That's the big screen.
Yeah.
And it's
which, by the way, it's amazing.
So good, isn't it? I'm loving. I want more films just to use this. That when they don't have to use CGI, use this, and it's also so much better.
It gives so much freedom to the directors. Like, you have no idea the fact that you can have someone on the at the moment with you that can change the layouts of the backgrounds and where the lights are coming from. Like, it's incredible. It means you have the power to change the set, on the day you're shooting it.
It's really cool, and I think it just helps. And I think more films, especially certain Marvel properties, could use this. And a particular film in mind, Spider-Man: No Way Home. I think it could have used this, especially when it's one of those shoebox films because of the pandemic. But anyway, spoilers for the Batman.
Yes.
What are the spoilers again?
Well, what do you want to go into first?
Well, I think we're going to leave that extra cameo to the last part.
Yes.
Okay? So the secret cameo, which, I don't know, I mean, everybody knows what we're talking about.
Actually, do you want to just jump into that right now? Okay.
So,
what are you talking about with the secret cameo?
I don't know if you're joking or not.
I really hope you're not joking.
I think he's joking. He's got a grin.
Yeah, he's got a grin.
Are you talking about the... No, I'm generally asking. Are you talking about a cameo or the fact that there's a laughing man in the cells?
Yes, there's a laughing man, yes.
Oh, okay.
Well,
so that's the cameo.
Yes,
no, I thought there was like an actor there that I didn't recognize, and I was like, wait, is that...
Okay, so basically...
So we're not talking cameo like Uncharted.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no. So,
okay.
Spoilers, the Joker's in it.
Yeah.
Yes, just for a very brief second.
For a brief second. So when the Riddler is apprehended, he's in Arkham Asylum, he's in his cell, and somebody starts speaking to him.
It's at the end of the movie.
It is in the end. It's not the end.
It's at the end.
Yeah, it is at the end.
It's like...
And he has somebody speaking to him. And this character who's you don't get a good look at. He's very much in the shadows. You can kind of see that permanent grin look on their face. Now the actor is
Barry Cohn,
who played Druid in the Eternals.
I recognize
he's also in Green Knight, if you remember Gunfall. He's the thief in it.
Still need to see that.
That's not a spoiler.
That's what I recognized him from.
Yeah. I mean, his voice is so... I think for me, because he was that one character I liked in Eternals, that his voice just stuck with my head. But he's there and he's saying, I think he gives he does the trademark, riddle me this. And, he mentions the word, you'll be looked at as a clown in this city, and he starts laughing.
Yeah. Clown. Yeah, we get it.
I mean, I was like 90% convinced. I was like, yeah, that's probably him. But then Matt Reeves just comes out in an interview and says, yep, that's the Joker. He confirms that, yep, he's. Yeah. Well, he says he did it in a sense that he's this criminal that has he was born with a deficiency he has a permanent smile, very much based off The Man Who Laughs from the 30s.
It's an old German film, I think.
Yeah.
That's
so
what the actual Joker was.
So he's trying to go really back to the roots, and he says that this character has had conflict with Batman in the first 2 years, and that's why he's in Arkham Asylum. And there was going to be an extra scene in the film, very much reminiscent of The Long Halloween, which obviously this film takes
a lot of inspiration
from. And in The Long Halloween...
a lot of inspiration from,
Yeah, in The Long Halloween, the Batman goes to Arkham Asylum to have a talk with Calendar Man because of the crimes and everything.
Yeah.
So the idea was there was going to be a scene where Batman would go to Arkham Asylum, sit down with this character. They're not calling him the Joker yet, because he's really not the Joker yet. And if you have a conversation, but they felt that would just take too much away. And then everybody would have been expecting him at the end.
Yeah, that's good. Gunfall, what did you think of that weird scene at the end?
Okay, so I think we're thinking about two different weird things. Because for me, the scene that took me out from the Riddler was the rat scene.
Right, okay. The rat scene?
Yeah.
Well,
That was
like
the
kind
scene
of
that
like a
took
bit
me
like
out.
Saw.
Yeah, the one where he's on the mobile phone.
Oh yeah.
Because it was first a bit
it
too
kinda looked
cringy,
like a
just the how much it was Saw, and also a bit too cringy how much it was a recreation of the mid-locker scene from Dark Knight.
Right, okay. I see what you mean. So that's the scene for you that you're like, oh, this Riddler is
That's
a bit
the
too
one that
much.
took me out of it, and I was like, I don't like
That
that scene.
didn't take
I
me
think
out of
they
it.
went a bit
Really?
too far.
Neither for me, because I thought pretty much.
I never thought
pretty
the
much
Saw relation until you just said that.
until we got to the interrogation scene between Batman and Riddler. I think it starts off very strong, but then I think the bit when he's just kind of going, he's like, no, and then I was just like, oh, that's a bit much. And I feel like because you know how he does the wee sing song bit as well. And he just I think that goes on just a bit too long, and I was just like, it's just a bit too. Maybe it's because
it went a bit too long. I feel like they should have it should have ended a bit before it did, because there wasn't any information added afterwards. Like the actual utility of the scene had ended at that point. I agree. I want
I want to just quickly actually explain the Riddler's motive.
Yeah.
Right. So the idea was that back in I always say this film takes place modern day, I think.
It's modern day.
So back in, I would say 28 years ago, so early 2000s.
The 90s.
Late 90s, early 2000s, when Thomas Wayne is running for mayor, he brings up this renewal fund. Revival.
No, it's renewal.
Is it renewal?
It's renewal. Yeah.
It's renewal.
Which is basically meant to...
It's a charity fund.
Yeah, it's a charity fund meant to help the orphans. Now, interesting, in this film, the orphanage is Wayne Manor.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So Batman doesn't live in Wayne Manor, he lives in Wayne Tower in the centre, and the Batcave is the old subway terminal below it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just
which
interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, interesting kind of like twist on it.
Yeah.
So, obviously...
It also means that he's like been literally looking over the city for his entire life.
Yeah, that's also quite good.
You know, like thematically, it works really well with what the story is trying to go for. So, like, it doesn't feel like just a change that they did because, you know?
Yeah. So, basically, the Wayne Foundation has this renewal fund, going to be a charity, but basically, the crime syndicate takes control of it.
Yes.
Carmine Falcone.
As soon as the Waynes die,
as soon as Wayne dies,
a bit of the pie.
Yeah, because like with charity, since it's not taxable, it means no one has to go through the actual numbers, and they can fudge them, and they can do what they want. So they use the renewal fund to basically just money launder, basically.
Yeah, basically to fund their criminal activities. So there's a scene in where we find out that Riddler is called Edward Norton.
Yes.
Like the actor.
Yeah, very strange. Very strange.
Obviously, they thought Edward Nygma was a bit too on the nose.
Yeah.
Well, he was
I was disappointed by that.
No. There was two names.
Yeah, there's two names.
But that was like a Peter Parker. That was literally. It sounded something like Peter Parker. It was something. It was like two P's.
Right. Okay.
Which was another alias.
I thought they both said Edwards.
No. The first one was like a PP something, which was.
And he was like, "You tell me."
Yeah, but that was another alias from the comics.
Okay.
But he was a forensic accountant. They didn't go with Edward Nygma though.
Why?
I think that's a bit
I know. But
anyway, so
you know, it takes balls to do it.
Yeah, Riddler's character is basically taking revenge on everybody who's related to the renewal fund because he was one of these orphans that basically just got left behind.
Yeah,
you know, when he was a child,
as an accountant.
Yeah, he was a forensic accountant, which is how he discovered all the kind of
all the corruption
in the city.
So everything he discovers literally everything before Batman does, just through the accountant.
Well,
through looking through the accountant.
Because he's an accountant and he's finding all these things, and you find out that this is how all the mayor's involved, how the district attorney, the police commissioner who isn't Gordon in this universe just yet, and how the Waynes, because one of the targets was Bruce Wayne, and this is where Alfred gets taken out of the film.
Yeah, but for a wee fakey.
Because I thought they were going to kill him. Yeah. This could be ballsy. Yeah. We could have a dead Alfred on our hands.
But I kind of love that they didn't kill him because I think that scene between him and Bruce, just brings a lot of humanity to the film. And I
It was
love,
a lot
Yeah,
of
they even
humanity
gave
to
it a
the
weak character art.
yeah, and I just love because we get that scene. It's like, what does Batman fear? And it is that fear of loss again. He's like, I can't go through that again. And I was like, that's really, really sad. It's really
very
sweet.
much it's very much a step towards the Batman we see at the end of the film, because when Alfred is introduced to us, Bruce, or Batman more like, is very cold towards him, says you're not my father and stuff, and that's that idea of him trying to distance himself from feeling responsible for people. That is what's making him be the violent pseudo criminal that he is right now.
He's trying to be this like nocturnal animal.
Yeah, but do you think that conversation that he had will also lead to Bruce Wayne making a return?
I think by the end of this film, which is kind of, obviously we talked about the whole bookending this film, is at the start he wants to be this, creature of vengeance, and he thinks him imposing this violence and fear on criminals is going to make a difference, but it's actually causing more crime, like he says in the film. And then there's that whole realization at the end, and we get that
it's compassion,
and it's obviously because you're saying it's the dialogue, who are you? And then the guy says, he just beats up this Riddler goon, and he goes, I am vengeance. Because
he does this, a big thing about superheroes rescue people. That's a huge thing about superheroes. Batman, in most Batman films, he does occasionally rescue people. He always maybe fights people who are beating somebody up. He rarely will jump into a burning building, rescue somebody out of it and all that. Yeah. But there's that final scene where
a lot of
that final scene where spoiler alert, Gotham gets flooded.
Yes.
Sorry, I want to say the Gotham getting flooded part. I would have taken 20 seconds, added 20 seconds in to have if that woman who's running for mayor, who takes over, we had a speech from her early on that if I wanted, maybe there does, and I missed it, that it's her talking about the sea banks. I just want They
do mention the sea banks early in the film. It's literally a passing line. I don't think I would have caught it if I didn't see it again.
I would have liked like a proper.
I did not know there was sea banks until they blew up.
Yeah, I thought that's what kind of I got confused with.
No, I think it's at the very beginning of the film, because it's literally one of the first scenes. It's the mayor in that discussion with Real.
Okay.
And and he talks about building the seawalls and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have liked.
Okay, is that when they're doing the kind of like he's watching on TV himself?
They're having a debate.
Having a debate. I would have liked something maybe midway, because at the beginning you're going to forget about it. It's a 3 hour runtime.
Yes, exactly.
I would have liked something in the middle.
Reminder
that these sea banks are a thing. Now, the whole flooding of Gotham, that was okay. That like I said, I felt that
at the start that did irk me, because I think this was such a serious detective thing, and then when I saw it. But it did amount to something more profound, which I did enjoy. So I was like, at first I was like, oh, whoa, this is what we're doing? We're doing this whole flood.
I was like that.
Same. But I was worried as well, but then they kind of fixed it.
What it led to, and what it could also mean for the future of this franchise is quite interesting, because, like you said, we get to that bit where to save all these people down below, Batman has to jump on that wire and cut it before it electrocutes everyone. Yep. And obviously he's already super injured and stuff like that. And then when he falls down, you get this beautiful scene where he comes out the water as if he's being baptized and he's being reborn into something more.
Yes.
And it's all done in visuals and all done in music, where he just walks over and then pulls that thing apart, gets the flare, and is leading Gotham
and puts the hand out, and it's the kid who lost his parents,
and that's what he's saying,
his father. So he's it's that moment where Batman realizes that it's not about avenging his parents, but about preventing that from happening to anyone else, which is his motivation as normally,
And he's obviously that villain, that goon saying, I'm vengeance, he's realized that, oh crap, everything I'm doing is actually inciting more violence. Yeah. And that he's now realized he needs to become something more. And also, he's holding that person, and he puts her on the carrier, and she holds on to him, and he
Batman in daylight,
she doesn't want to let him go. I know, he looks great in daylight, that suit.
Yeah, I know. I really like the suit.
I love it.
Honestly, I think the suit's great.
Oh, the suit looks amazing. Honestly, it feels like one of those scenes that Schneider wanted to do for his Superman, but since there was no context or build up for it, it was just a nice looking shot.
I'm gonna say this: I think the suit's better than Dark Knight. Especially with the cowl.
Yeah. I think
I think so.
I think it's the best Batman
suit,
suit.
yeah.
I think it's a beautiful,
100%.
And I want to quickly
Also,
talk.
it's the first suit that it's the first time they actually addressed the whole eye makeup thing. So
I love it. They're like,
give him props
straight
for
up, he
that.
wears the makeup.
I remember.
Of course he would.
I remember that first trailer when he takes it off and he's got the eye makeup on. Everybody went, "Oh, this is breaking new boundaries." But I want to talk about go back to Selena Kyle's character.
Yeah.
Her father.
Oh yeah, Falcone. Yeah.
Carmine Falcone, which apparently is actually also hinted to in the Long Halloween comic book arc.
Yes, it is. I kind of forgot about that because I've read Long Halloween like 3 or 4 times. It's like I think one of the first Batman things that I ever read when I was like 10 years old. And it's also I didn't actually understand the ending, and then until I reread it a few years later, I was like, oh, that's what it's about. But
Do you have it?
Yeah, I've got it.
I'll trade you.
Yeah,
Cameo.
It's a fantastic graphic novel. That is something that I forgot they kind of insinuated that I had to watch like a YouTube video to tell me as well.
Yeah.
we'll do a live reading for the Patreons, you know.
Oh yes.
So obviously, Catwoman, her whole journey was to find her flatmate who got caught up with the mayor.
Yeah, the mayor's beating
and she got killed by Falcone.
Oh yeah.
And she knew. I mean, Catwoman knew that her father was Falcone, and all this kind of stuff happens.
But now, Falcone didn't know.
Falcone. Well, I think he did.
No, there is a scene. They do say that he saw her as a child, or like just completely ignored her. Like he knew who Selena was, or at least like a younger version.
Yeah, but like then he acts surprised when she confronts
because he's saying
him
like
about
she
it
saw him
later.
as a child, but he ignored her and like went away. Yeah, and then obviously later on he obviously doesn't remember.
She was very good, and obviously she leaves to go to Bloodhaven, which is a wee Nightwing Easter egg.
Oh yes, of course.
And
of course.
she kind of just moves on. Will she come back? I really hope so.
I think she is definitely going to come back.
And there's talks about early talks about her getting HBO spin-off.
God, they're milking this.
Well, do you know? Well, it's interesting because they're talking about she had a Long Halloween spin-off.
Yeah.
Which when she was in Rome.
All right.
Yeah. She goes off to Rome. Yeah. So all I'm saying is,
I haven't read that one. So
we can get another wee Papa John's.
Oh no! No, please God, no.
So yeah, we have that. And
is there any particular scene you want to discuss, Gunfall? Any moment in the film?
I really enjoyed the whole idea of. Just because I feel like it's probably more of a me thing, just because I recently watched The Kingsman. And I was incredibly disappointed on how it sets up a lot of ideas and never does anything with them.
That film.
And
wait, sorry,
The
Kingsman.
But The Kingsman, the last one.
Wait. Can we ask you about the end credit scene on The Kingsman and what your opinions are of it?
Wait, there's an end credit scene? I don't think I stuck around for the end credit scene. The Hitler one. Oh, yeah, that was fucking awful. Yeah,
it's the most disgusting. I think it's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible. I can't see what
I already had issues with the fact that the main villain of the film, for some reason, is just a Scottish independentist, which is just like, why would you shit on the Scottish this way when you had a perfectly fantastic villain?
We've not seen the film. I just came across the end credit scene and I messaged Lewis and he went, "Nah, you're making this up."
It's a fail.
Anyway, we can make a whole
also,
episode.
it shows an incredible lack of knowledge from history, because they say that Hitler is the right hand to Lenin's left, which just that's not how the political Nazi party worked.
We're going to move on from...
Anyways, the point is, having watched that film, I had they introduced this idea of like people with like nobility and money and the horrible things that they had to do to get there, and the fact that this movie kind of addresses a lot of that actually did make me feel really nice, because I was like, thank you, they actually set up that idea and then they actually paid it off with the whole idea of like Bruce's dad. And even though it was an unintentional mistake, the idea that when someone holds this much power and influence, just a mistake can cost people's lives. And it's really interesting, and I really liked the way they handle that, because they don't unequivocally make him a bad guy, but they also don't just sanctify him and say, oh, he was a fantastic person and he did nothing wrong, So I liked it. I liked the way they handled that.
I want to ask, maybe just a wee kind of round up before we sign off, sequel ideas.
I mean, honestly, I'm at the point where I'm like, Matt Reeves did such a brilliant job with this film, and I think he could use any story idea or any villain in the next one, and he could make it great. Literally, he could literally pick any villain from the Pantheon. I'd like it great. I really, because I never forgot to say about the Joker thing. I honestly really hated that. I really didn't like.
I think, and Matt Reeves has spoken out and says he does not plan to use him as the main villain
I know
for
that.
the next film. So I think he will also be a background character. I think you'll have a scene with him, like fully.
Yeah.
And then it will end with him setting up to be the third.
Yeah.
The villain.
No, I agree with that. I don't think they're going to use him directly next, but I just didn't like just how just clear, obvious that scene was. Like, we're setting up something in the future, and it just
kind
of similar to that Hitler scene.
But that's also maybe why,
because it just felt like
it was out of place. I think completely out of place.
But that's why I think
it felt a lot like the last scene in Venom when they introduced Carnage. Like, it feels like it's from a lesser movie. It feels like a scene from a lesser movie.
And he didn't have that wig.
I also think from the brief thing we got from, I know it's not a full performance, obviously, but I just think he sounded crap.
Right, well, you can't.
But that's kind of it.
We can't judge. Anyway, Gunfall, next film, Batman 2. Who would you want to see as a villain?
I would love if they don't do a Batman 2.
You know what? Okay. That's a fair point.
I would love if the next movie they do with Batman, it's a different actor, it's a different universe, it's a different tone, it's a different story. That's what I would love.
Well, we're not going to get that, so...
I know we're not going to get that. But, so, if we're going to get something else... I mean, there's so many. Like, Batman has such a good roster.
That's just such a unique opinion.
Yeah,
I value that. Like, you'd honestly like to see like a Batman anthology series.
Honestly,
that'd be fantastic.
That's
I would
so
just like to
interesting.
see different things, just different takes on Batman. Because I think that was the strongest thing about this movie is that it did its own thing.
It's like an Elseworld,
and that's
sort
what
of
I
thing.
liked about it.
Yeah. I like that. I respect that.
No, could you imagine the next one they do? It's the next anthology, and we're just getting this an Adam West one again, and it's just this comedy. It'd be so funny.
That would be great. That would be great. That would actually be great.
The Batman 66.
Yeah. They get like Will Ferrell as the Joker.
Oh yeah.
Oh god. Imagine if they did something like incredibly art house with like a 60s style Batman. Oh, that could be really amazing.
I'm going to say
surreal crap. Oh, yeah.
What, who would you love?
Who I would say? Well, I mean, a personal favorite would be Court of Owls because they've talked about it a lot. But
Court of Owls would be amazing.
Yeah, but one actually I kind of want. I know we've had them recently. Two-Face, because I feel Two-Face would bring more Bruce Wayne, and I'm trying to think of villains that would bring more Bruce Wayne into this next film.
Well, I think obviously you and I agree that Bruce Wayne's going to be a bigger role in this next one. He's going to become more like Bruce Wayne.
He's going to become that the separation of Batman and creating that playboy persona.
It's more like a Bruce Wayne origin story.
I don't think it's going to be Two-Face just because the way how little I saw of the makeup of the Joker looks a lot like the scarred face of Two-Face, and I think that.
No, he's not saying he is going to be Two-Face. He's just saying that he wants Two-Face. Like he's not saying that.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, I'm saying like the direction that they seem to have taken the Joker in seems too similar to like the concept of Two-Face of the scarred face. So that's why I think they'd be a bit too similar having those two characters with the scarred faces.
So like having Heath Ledger's Joker with the scars and Two-Face in the same movie is
exactly. Yeah,
so
like
the
whole idea of like this. No, that's not what I mean.
I understand what he's getting at.
Sorry. Okay, you got me there, Kyle. You got me there. But I'm saying I don't think it's gonna be Two-Face. I think we're gonna see some like lesser like.
But that's the thing. I know we want lesser villains, but I want something other than another Riddler character. Because I know people are saying like Professor Pig, but that's another serial killer based character.
I think we're gonna get. I think Penguin's gonna be in like all three of these as a major role. I think Penguin's gonna be back for sure. I think Catwoman's obviously not a villain, but she will be back. Riddler could show up again in this third film if they wait to do Joker.
They're gonna do the Sinister Six.
They could do this, but Matt Reeves said he'd absolutely love to do Mr. Freeze, and he's thought of like a grounded version of Mr. Freeze, and we've not had him since Batman and Robin.
Couldn't this Mr. Freeze dad
that could be interesting because
Could he?
What? No, go away. Right, what are you saying, Gonzalo?
No, but like honestly, with Mr. Freeze, you could make Mr. Freeze like a high class, because like he's a rich guy, like a scientist, well spoken kind of thing. So you could use Mr. Freeze to kind of like take like the aspects of Bruce Wayne interacting with another like rich aristocrat kind of style thing, you know. So like I feel like you could get away with Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
There's so many good
There's so many
villains,
good ones.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to about wrap it up tonight. Thank you so much, Gonzalo, as always. Kyle as well, of course. And this has been the Unwanted Opinions podcast.
What's next
Episode
week?
4. Next week, I do have an idea for a show, but I don't know if we'll need to discuss if we want to do it.
Oh, right.
So I don't want to say it loud,
Okay.
just in case we change our minds.
Right, okay.
I'll
Mystery.
talk to you. A mystery. But as always, check out theunwantedopinion.net for any reviews and more film discussion, of course. And yes, thank you for listening. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.